Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with a retro review for you today. I'd like to take you back to Christmas of 1996. Bill Clinton has just been re-elected. The Spice Girls are the hottest musical act in the world for some reason, and there's a brand new horror movie coming out called Scream. This film was directed by the legendary Wes Craven and written quite inspiring script, to be honest, by Kevin Williamson, and starring Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Jamie Kennedy, and Drew Barrymore. This film is a true whodunit and a murder mystery. So I'm going to try not... There's going to be spoilers in this video. I'm trying not going to hit you with the spoilers until it's that time in the story. The film starts with a phone call. Young Casey, Young Casey, who's played by Drew Barrymore, answers a call, and she's waiting for her boyfriend to come hang out with her, and they're going to watch a movie. Her parents are on their way home, too. But it's a wrong number, but the guy keeps calling. And calling back, starts asking her about horror movies. You know, what's your favorite scary movie? And I'm going to tell you right now, this is as I said, inspiring and inspired. Because if you're my age, there's no way you haven't called your friends, asked them what their favorite scary movie was. You know, taking a small piece of metal and scrape it across the glass outside their windows. You do stuff like that to your friends to scare them. Anyhow, and it is slowly revealed that the caller is outside the house. And when she turns the patio light on, she sees her boyfriend tied up in a chair. But the guy on the phone just wants to play a game. And, he starts asking her horror movie trivia, who's the killer in Halloween. But when she gets the killer wrong on Friday the 13th, he kills her boyfriend. Slits his gut open, mutilates him. And the killer is wearing this very iconic, very memorable suit. It's called the Ghostface Killer, but his face is like the image of the Scream, the famous painting. And he's almost like in a full body black cloak with large sleeves. I always did wonder that, it's a cool looking suit, but you would not be able to successfully run somebody down dressed like that. No, that's not going to happen. Anyhow, Casey tries to get away, but he catches up to her, killing her just on the side of their house, right when her parents pull up. Very tragic, very sad scene. Parents come outside seeing her hanging from a tree, gut splayed out, steam coming off the insides. Really cool stuff. Then we jump to our heroine, our hero, Sidney Prescott. Now, last month when I reviewed her, was that earlier this month? Well, whenever I reviewed Ready or Not, I had said that Grace Ladomus is very possibly my brand new favorite horror movie heroine of all time. And I said, her competition is Sidney Prescott. It was great to finally see, after years and years of slashers, the fun a girl just being random, actually being a smart character played by a good actress with some layers to her, some depth there. I mean, she's going through shit. I mean, you could maybe still just say, Sid Prescott's a two-dimensional character, but nevertheless, still a lot deeper than most horror movie final girls. Anyhow, Sydney's going through some stuff. She's the 1 year anniversary of her mother's murder is rapidly approaching, and she's got a boyfriend who's pressuring her. He's trying to be sensitive about it, but he is pressuring her into sex. And they get to school the next day. She finds out that there's been 2 more killings. And it's a very, very morbid setting. It's trying to talk about the desensitization of youth in general. I mean, you could say it was the 90s, like 2 kids today. Young people have always been desensitized. Obviously, the cops are talking to everybody at school, and this is where we get to meet the rest of her crew. We meet Tatum, who is her best friend. A bit of a bitch, but a very likable girl, and just stunningly gorgeous, played by Rose McGowan. There's her boyfriend, the very goofy and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very, outgoing, I guess is what I'm looking for. The outgoing Stu. And then there's Randy, who is the movie buff, works at the video store. And they're all really sitting around making fun of the murders until Sydney's kind of had enough and she gets up and leaves. Not like in a bitchy way, like, oh, I can't be around you guys. Not like that. But anyhow, after school, by the way, Sid's dad is out of town on business, so she's alone. And of course, obviously she's, scared because there was 2 murders last night, year anniversary of her mother's murder coming up around the corner here, and she's just not really in the mood to be alone. So she's her friend Tatum's gonna come pick her up, and they're gonna go watch a Tom Cruise dick movie. So while she's waiting for Tatum, she gets a phone call. It's the killer. Same rigmarole. Tries to get her to play a game, asks her about her favorite scary movie, and when he crosses the line, mentioning, if you hang up on me, you're gonna die just like your mother. She's like, fuck you, hangs up the phone. And it just pops up, he's right there in the house. And it's just a great sequence where she does everything she just said stupid girls in horror movies do. She runs up the stairs when she should be going out the front door, but at least in this she just kind of explained she just doesn't have time to get to the door. To unlock all the latches and such. She goes up to her room, barricades the door, calls 911 on her computer, which, I don't know if you can do that today, tell you the truth. I think you still need to actually dial, not just type in 911, send help. I think you need a little more than that is required. Anyhow, killer's gone. Don't know where he went. Billy's there, her boyfriend. Climbs in through the window, cell phone falls out of his pocket. Now remember, this is 1996, not everybody had a cell phone, it's still considered a luxury thing, but then at the same time, these are rich California kids, so it shouldn't have been that shocking to think the kid had a cell phone. Anyhow, he has a cell phone, she freaks out thinking he's a killer, runs right into the arms of Deputy Dewey, played by David Arquette, who is also Tatum's big brother. That night at the station, Billy gets busted. He's being investigated for the murders and check out his phone records, all this kind of stuff. He's gonna spend the night in the tank, and Sid goes with Tatum to their house to stay the night because obviously. And while they're leaving the police station, they run into Gail Withers, Courtney Cox, and Gail is a reporter, a scrupulous reporter, and she's written a book on Cotton Weary, who is the man in prison for killing Sid's mother. And she thinks Weary's an innocent man. She thinks Weary's an innocent man. And they have a confrontation, Sid and Gail, and Sid slugs a bitch. Bam! Bitch went down. Right there in the street, in front of cameras and the press and everything like this. So later that night, Sid and Tatum are talking about, and she gets a call again from the killer. I guess you fingered the wrong guy. Again. Which is, our first hint that this is also the guy who killed Sydney's mother, which tells us right away that Gail's right about Cotton, despite her being a bitch. So, next day at school. Curfew is in effect. Come 9 o'clock, everybody has to stay in their house. And Sydney's really fucking stressed out now. Now that it's become full morbidity. Kids running around the school and dressed like the killer because it's like just a basic Halloween costume you can get anywhere. And she runs into Billy, who's been cleared. He still has his ink on his fingerprint. You didn't stop by the house, didn't go home, didn't change, didn't wash your hands or anything after you left jail. Just go straight to school. Yeah, that's really, really fucking weird. Anyhow, while she's in the bathroom, she overhears a couple of bitchy girls talking about her. Once again, the desensitization and morbidity of youth. And she's, they think Sid killed everybody. And then she's attacked by someone dressed as Ghostface. Most likely not the real Ghostface. This movie is just red herrings galore, by the way. It's just every possible character that everybody who pops up on screen or has a line in this movie, you're led to believe is an actual suspect. This could be the killer. So after school, Stu tells Sid and Tatum that they're going to have a party at his house, because that's exactly what curfews mean. Yeah. When you have a curfew, you all go to the rich guy's house and throw a fucking kegger. Anyhow. They're going to go to the party. They're going to get supplies. Dewey's going to kind of look out after them. And Gale Weathers is trying to snuggle up to Dewey to get some information, get closer to the case. They're going to follow them to the Marker house as well. Stu Marker, that's his name. At the same time, the principal, played by the Fonz, Henry Winkler himself, is not alone in the school, but he's alone in his office, kind of fucking around with all the Ghostface shit that he's confiscated for the day. Starts hearing shit, starts looking around the school, sees this great little Easter egg of the janitor dressed just like Freddy Krueger. He answers to the name Fred. It's just a brilliant reference to Craven's original Nightmare on Elm Street. The principal gets back in his office, and there's the Ghostface, the real one. Stabs him in the gut, kills him right then and there. I've always kind of thought that this killing didn't really have anything to do with the story. I mean, they kind of say where it plays into the killer's plan later, but I just kind of thought it was just... I always just kind of felt that this kill was in there just because between the opening and the climax, there's no murders. So it's like, it's a big stretch of a movie not to have anybody getting iced. Anyhow. There's all kinds of interesting scenes. Those scenes, going around the town, you see the whole town really preparing, and the fear of the killer really getting under everybody's skin. And more, movie-like talk, like them casually talking about who would play Sidney in a movie version of all this story. Them talking more about Sid's mother, and Tatum trying to break it to Sid that, your mother was kind of a bitch, and really a slut. But we get to the Marker house, and the arrival to the Marker house has always been this great moment to me. Is it Brain Bird or Bird Brain? Bird Brain. Oh fuck, I can't remember the band's name. It was one of those things. It had to be Bird Brain. But their song, Youth of America, which is kind of like the theme song for this movie. It's part of a lot of the marketing. I think it was even original, and had footage from the movie in the music video. But anyhow, that song's playing. It's just this great way it's done. The way the music kicks in, the way the camera pulls out to show the Marker house as Sid and Tatum are going in, and it's just this great feeling. This is it. This is the third act. This is, or the turn to really the second act. I've always just loved that moment, the way the music and the editing and the shot, and it's just really, really well done. I've always loved that moment in the movie. So inside, we're reintroduced to see all the characters, all the young people we've gotten to know are there. Dewey's there, Gale's there. So not only all the characters do we know, all our suspects are there, too. Gale gets Dewey to take her inside and introduce her to all the kids. She plants a camera that has like a 30-second delay on it, though. And around the same time, Stu asks Tatum to go get some more beer. She goes in the garage, and when she's in the garage, she's cornered by Ghostface. She tries to fight back. A great scene, really. She tries to fight back, like hits him with the fridge door and throws a fucking beer bottle right in his nuts. It's really great stuff. She panics, and she tries to get away by crawling through the doggy door and can't really get through because she's so voluptuous. And he turns on the garage door that lifts her up and breaks her neck when he gets to the top. Kind of always, yeah, that probably wouldn't be possible. But, forget it. It's a horror movie. And then, also it was so creepy, goes back into the house by going straight into the party. Opening the kitchen door and walking right into the house. I always thought that was so kind of really, really creepy moment. So Tatum's gone. Around the same time, Party's starting to clear out a little bit. There's still plenty of people there, but there's a lot less people there now. More people are going on, going home, and a lot of people are getting drunker and drunker. Billy shows up. He wants to talk to Sid, and they go up to Stu's parents' room to have some alone time. While they're up there, Stu, they have a moment, and Sydney confesses, that she needs to come to terms with the person her mother really was. Billy tells her she shouldn't beat herself up, shouldn't get so caught up on these things. Life's just a big movie anyway. And they fuck. They finally have sex, and it's kind of romantic, but it's not going to stay romantic. Anyhow, downstairs we're watching Halloween, and Randy pauses the movie, probably one of the most iconic scenes, legendary scenes of the movie, to tell the rules of a horror movie. Like, only the virgin can survive. You don't have sex. You don't do drugs. You don't do alcohol. You don't drink alcohol. You never leave a room and say, I'll be right back. You certainly don't wander around the woods calling somebody's name out in the dark. All the cool stuff. So, around this time, they get a phone call telling them that the principal's body is hanging up from the fucking flagpole at school. So all the guys jump in their cars and go flying down, drunk driving down the street to go see the dead bodies. Morbid is the whole concept behind this movie. At the same time, Dewey and Gail are going to investigate a car somebody saw in the woods, like a hunter or something. And when they get there to the car, they realize it's Neil Prescott's car, Sydney's father, who they have not been able to get in touch with this whole time. Back in the house, Sydney and Billy are getting dressed, and Ghostface pops in, stabs Billy, killing him. Chases Sydney out of the room, and he chases her all over the house. She eventually gets to, it's the final girl circuit, basically, as we can. She finds Tatum's dead body. She gets kind of scattered to the wind. Dewey, and she goes to the cameraman that's with Gail, and he tries to help her out, but he just gets ambushed by Ghostface, gets his throat slit. She gets away from him again, but she does get stabbed in the shoulder at this point. But she's still able to just stay ahead of them, just stay away from them. But they're, like I said, it's a big farmhouse. It's all this kinds of land. If you've never had the experience of being in the middle of nowhere, where the fuck are you gonna run? Anyhow, around this same time, Dewey and Gail split. Dewey's gone back to her van, and Gail's gone back to her van to call for backup. And to call the cops, and Dewey's gone to the house to get the kids out of there. When Dewey gets in the house, doesn't really see anybody. Gail gets to her van. She sees the dead body of her cameraman. She thinks she's scared by Randy walking out of nowhere. Bam! Hits him with her fucking phone. Then she just drives off. She sees Sydney in the street, swerves to meet Sydney, crashes right into a tree. Sydney gets back to the house. She finds Dewey stabbed. Ghostface comes at her again, but she's able to, outrun him and get away from him again, but this time she loses him. At this point, Randy comes running up out of nowhere. Stu comes running up out of nowhere. Both of them saying the other guy's the killer. She gets a hold of Dewey's gun. She says, fuck them both, locks them both out of the house. Billy comes out of the bedroom. He's bleeding, he's hurt, he can barely stand, but he's still alive. He tells Sid to give him the gun. She does. He lets Randy in. Where's Stu? He says Stu's gone crazy. Billy turns around and says, we all go a little mad sometimes. Line right out of Psycho. Then shoots Randy. And yes, Billy Loomis is the killer. And Loomis, what a great reference. Dr. Loomis from Halloween. Anyhow, so he shoots Randy. And, God, I love the look, the take Skeet Ulrich does. The slow turn and just pure madness in his eyes. And then he shoots Randy. Sydney goes to run. She runs right into Stu, who pulls up the voice box and says, surprise, Sydney. Now, I gotta tell you, a friend of mine, Sammy Hammond, way back in the day, ruined the ending. I didn't get to see Scream in the theaters. He tried to ruin the ending for me, but really threw me for a loop, because he told me that Matthew Lillard's character was the killer. I was like, dude, what the fuck, man? That sucks. But the real twist, the real surprise, is that there's two killers, and it's great. And by the way, there's all kinds of little things all throughout the movie. It's like, how the killer get there, how to get there. It's almost like it's intentional bad editing, almost as if the bad guy can teleport. But no, it makes perfect fucking sense because there's two of them. And then what unfolds is maybe 10 of the best minutes in horror movie history. Billy and Stu unravel their plan. They talk about how they kill Maureen, how they have no motive, how they basically did it. They watched a bunch of horror movies, took a few notes. It was fun. And then Billy confesses that no, your mother fucked my dad, ruined my parents' marriage, and that's why my mommy left me. Fuck you, little crybaby. So you murdered someone else's mother? What a lowlife. Anyhow. And clearly, Stu has no clue, but just by the take, Lillard does. So, they pull out, they bring Neil Prescott out of the goddamn basement, reveal their whole plan is that Sidney's dad went crazy with the 1-year anniversary of his wife's murder, went on a killing spree, left including killing Sidney, and left everyone for dead, but just Stu and Billy happened to live. And then Stu and Billy, to make their plan work, start stabbing each other. It's fucking awesome. It is so insane and an amazing sequence. Stabbing each other back and forth, so crazy. But I've always said there's always been there's a hole in Billy's plan. The cops are going to see the corn syrup on your shirt and on your face. They're going to wonder why you got fake blood on you, man. That's going to be a question you get asked. So when they go around, they turn around to grab the gun. Gail got the gun. Great line about how the new plan is... she comes to, foils her plan, and busts these two assholes. She goes to shoot Billy, but the gun doesn't go off. Billy knocks her out, goes to shoot her, but then turns around. Sidney's gone. Phone rings. Sidney's got the voice box. Said she's called the cops. Stu's just collapsing because he's starting to bleed out. And Billy's freaking out, he's fucking cutting up pillows, screaming, cussing as he's going and totally nuts. This great bit, he goes to look in a closet to see if Sidney's in there, and gets distracted by Halloween on the TV and just looks over there first. He's hunting somebody to murder them, but gets distracted by the movie. So Sid comes out of the closet, stabs him a couple of times with the umbrella, and then she's attacked by Stu. Her and Stu wrestle around, she gets the best of him, bites him, kicks him in the nuts, hits him with a vase over the head, then drops the TV on his head, killing him. Now, I've heard somebody say before that that kill wouldn't work anymore because of flat screen TVs. Those fuckers are still pretty fucking heavy, and they're dropped directly on your head. It'll still probably kill you. That could still probably kill you. Anyhow, Sid goes back to the living room to check on Randy. He's still alive, but then they're attacked again by Billy. Billy gets on top of her, he's strangling her, he's about to stab her, and then BAM! He gets shot by Gail, who's figured out how to work the gun this time. Sitting there writhing around in pain, passes out. Randy has a great line. This was the supposedly dead killer comes back for one last scare. And he does, jumps up, and Sid shoots him in the fucking face. Not in my movie. Movie ends with all of our survivors being rushed to the hospital, while Gail Kim, who should be going to the hospital, is going to do her story. Gail Weathers is going to shoot her story. Now, what a great movie. It's a great, great horror movie, and it revived the horror film genre. I mean, yeah, sure, mostly just slashers. There was a shitload of slashers after this. But in the 90s, by the time Scream came out, it really felt like horror movies were a thing of the past. Like, Hollywood wasn't even trying to do them anymore. The only horror movies that got any kind of attention or talk were the prestige movies, like Stephen King adaptations or other novel stuff, like the Bram Stoker's Dracula. I love this movie. I've always loved this movie. I've seen it probably 100 times. I watched it 3 times just to prepare for this video, and I probably didn't have to watch it once because I know the movie really well. But, it's just such a nostalgia fest for me. It's like the ultimate 90s movie. I can't tell you how many times I sat back and watched this movie growing up, talking with my friends, theorizing about, which one of the killers is it here? what was the bathroom attack, Billy or Stu, and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, when it came, it was a huge blockbuster hit, and it was incredibly, like I said, revolutionary. And it's like the whole tone of horror movies kind of changed, almost borderline on campy with a lot of them. But Scream wasn't campy. The sequels get kind of campy, but I'm not gonna probably ever talk about those. But yeah, Scream was great. I kind of wore myself talking about this, but I mean, I'll talk about Patrick Lussier, great film editing, work in this film. Went on to direct movies like Dracula 2000 and the remake of My Bloody Valentine. Marco Beltrami. I misremembered for years that he was nominated for an Oscar for this, but he wasn't. But it's just great work. He ain't been out of work since Scream. He's working the Hellboy films and did eventually get nominated for Oscars for films like The Hurt Locker and 3:10 to Yuma. This is an iconic film. It's maybe Wes Craven's best fucking film. Kevin Williamson's great script, but unfortunately, he only really knew how to write the one movie. Everything else he did after this kind of just felt too much like Scream. Anyhow, I guess I should cut this video. I'm going very, very long. Scream's a classic movie. It's an absolute classic movie. I've watched many, many times in my life. Movie I'm going to watch many, many more times to come. Anyhow, tell me what y'all thought about Scream. If you think if I'm blowing smoke up your ass, if I'm giving too much praise to this film, or if you love it just as much as me. Anyhow, I'm Jake Davis, and I'll catch you on the fly.